Tonight on Debate Amongst Friends, the Kaepernick sitting, and we don't mean benching. Down goes Romo! Down goes Romo! Mark Sanchez and a little WWE starting now.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen of the internet. This is Debates Among Friends, live on Mixlr. Like us on our Facebook page at Debates Among Friends. Tonight is the 17th edition of this sports podcast, and we're glad you decided to join us on this Wednesday evening. I am known as the Professor, and always joining me, ready to subscribe prescriptions of factoids, is the Doctor. Doctor, how you doing?
I'm doing well. What a great week of news and action. I'm ready for some debating, my friend.
And let's get straight into it, man. Let us get straight into it. Kaepernick, anthems, and controversies. That's been the big news that's been going on this past weekend, starting from Friday, where the big news was about San Francisco 49ers QB. He was a starting QB. He might be a backup QB, but he just might end up not QBing at all. Doctor, what's your thoughts?
So many thoughts. And I'm going to be honest with you. I did not comment. I didn't discuss. I didn't debate. I might have shared a post or two, but I stayed clear of this topic until right now. And I'm going to be honest with you, and I say I'm kind of mixed. It's a mixed feeling. Like, I get what he's saying, and I get what everybody else is saying against him, but I feel like everybody's twisting this into something that is not where it's supposed to go. So it's almost like they're diverting our attention from the overall reason as to why he's doing this. And I say that because after this news story broke, it immediately went to patriotism.
Yes.
And did you feel that? Did you feel that pull towards patriotism? It was strictly about the veterans. It was about being an American citizen. It was like, but what about the reason behind his whole strategy?
In all honesty, I mean, most of the argument was against the police.
Right.
It was like with the veterans, and it's funny because I was on Twitter, at Debates Amongst Friends, ladies and gentlemen. We have a new Twitter page, so
new Twitter. Plus.
But I was out there on the Twitter sphere, and wait, Twitter sphere a word? Despite
it is now. It is now.
I was out there in the Twitter sphere, and I'm looking at certain things, looking at certain trends that's been going on to help prepare us for the show and whatnot. And one of the things that I've noticed was hashtag veterans for Kaepernick.
I did see that right before the show started, and I was on my way home, and I saw this video. But here's the problem, and that's where I was going to go with this. The problem is he did this specifically because people are being mistreated in a free country. Do you understand? Like,
air quotes on free country, by the way.
Yes, and it's like, I get why he did it. I really don't think it would have mattered what he did, whether it was sitting for the anthem, whether it was joining the protest rally, whether it was, posting a video on Facebook. It doesn't matter what he did, because I think he would have got the same scrutiny, because anyone, and I hate to say this because it's ridiculous and it's going to be very controversial, I'm sure it's going to drive people crazy, but
at the same time, Doctor, this is Debates Among Friends.
This is true. And this is the whole thing that makes America great, is that we all have a freedom of speech, and he used that in his particular position to raise this awareness. Now, if he wasn't a football player, would we even be talking about it? Would anybody be talking about this? No.
Absolutely.
So my thing is, he's raising awareness because African Americans are being mistreated, they're being killed, they're being profiled, they're being this, that, and that. And the argument of, hey, he's disrespecting the vets. In this country, vets represent a high number of the homeless count in America.
It does. And we don't try to bring in politics into sports, but
Absolutely
at the same time, this definitely is a bigger issue than people are not anticipating. You
So
know,
I get it though. I mean, hey, you got to stand up for that American national anthem, where people brought up the whole idea that there were lyrics, the original lyrics were out there, and people were posting that, really just saying that, hey, some of those words were really, really racist. Well, at that time, this was a really, really racist place,
it was.
and part of it now is still racist.
Very much so. Very much so. I think it's more because people want to live under the guise, and live under a certain veil of, well, it's not how it was now. That was, that many years ago, blah, blah, blah. And the issue is the people who's not really dealing with that day to day, so they can't really, internalize it.
But it's crazy to say, hey, he shouldn't say that. He should stand up and represent the flag, but in the same breath say, if I say, hey, you can't carry your weapon around openly, or if I say, hey, you can't do this, or, hey, Muslims can't wear headscarves, or whatever the case may be, it would be a violation of their human rights. It's the
Human rights.
constitutional rights. He has a right to speak, he has a right to voice his opinion. You can't say, hey, he has a right to voice his opinion, but when he says something, it's like, oh, he can't say that. You can't do that.
But you can't. But they coin a phrase, and we love coining the phrase here on debates among friends. But to coin a phrase, like, you can't have your cake and eat it too.
You can't. You either gotta bake it or you gotta eat it. I mean,
You
that's
know,
just the way
like
it is.
like, and the fallout through all this, like, I'm seeing so many different memes and whatnot attacking his background and attacking his parents and stuff like that, and I'm like, but is that really what the case is? Like, he constantly been saying on numerous, interviews with the media that he did what he did not for himself. He did it because there's an issue going on in our country that needs to get addressed. And him being a professional athlete gives him the stage to do it. Not even just a few months ago, didn't Carmelo Anthony just call out all those NBA superstars and they did something as well?
This is
You don't
true.
hear the fallout with that.
Now, here's the three things that I thought about today and this week before the show, and I was really excited to talk about all this stuff. But it was two things that really, really brought my attention here.
Go for it.
That caught my attention. This is from the Olympics. Three things that caught my attention from the Olympics about people. Not only should people have felt more disrespected by these particular things, but the swimmer who lied about the whole robbery thing at the gas station.
Oh, I see. There's two swimmers, so you might have to.
Well, there's only one that made up the story. Lochte, I think his name was.
Well, and the other swimmer
I
is on the news as well too, but no one's talking about that one. But we'll get to that one in a
I'm
second.
not sure. Did he make headline news lying and embarrassing America? Like, I mean, that's an embarrassment.
See, it is, but at the same time, no one's talking about that.
Well, they were talking about it
Not to the capacity of
during the
this.
Olympics.
Okay, the
That's
Olympics is
because
over
this kind
though.
of took this kind of took over. But see, this is my point. I'm bringing this out because there were things that were done and said that kind of contradict the way they are responding to this. Like, the American Muslim fencer who said she didn't feel safe in America. It's basically the same thing. They're just not saying, hey, I'm not going to salute the flag. I mean, so what is really, really the difference? Do you understand what I'm saying?
There is no difference. It's about how people perceive what people are saying or people are doing. And it's funny because I watched a clip from His and Her on ESPN. Watch this show if you haven't. It's a pretty okay show. 3 out of 5, but that's just the professor's opinion. Um, but one of the things they was talking about was it's not what he said that bothered people. Well, it's
I
not
mean,
what
come
he
on, come on.
it's not what he did that bothered people. It's what he said afterwards was really bothered people. And the reason why it did that is because it's the truth, and because it is the truth, people become defensive. We as human beings are our first initial reaction to the cold hard truth, the stone cold truth,
Mm.
is to be defensive and to attack people. Whether that's verbally or that's physically. It's just the way that our brains are wired. And I'm the professor. I am not a psychologist. I will never say that I'm a
Right.
psychologist. But at the same time, I'm the professor and I got reads.
Oh, absolutely, and I agree. I mean, eh, I just think it's one of those things where it's one of those situations where, hey, you have the right to say what you want. I get it. Hey, America. Oh God, we're so great. We love America. But I think there's one perspective that I really, really enjoyed, and that's Arian Foster's perspective. Not sure if you saw what Arian Foster wrote, but he said he didn't agree with Kaepernick's method. But what he did agree with was that people really, really need to understand where this is all coming from. Basically, saying that you can't just tell the African American community to get over the hundreds and hundreds of years of oppression. You can't
No.
just sit there and say, hey, if you don't like this country, you can leave because we don't know where to go. And as I mentioned to someone on Facebook yesterday, if every African American man, woman, child, and anyone that has whatever the percentage is of African American that they consider African American in them, we went to Africa or wherever we go, every other culture would be right behind us because we are a vital part of this country, a vital part of this community, and we really bring the funk to the country. I mean, would you agree with that?
I completely agree. And it's funny because, and we mentioned this before a couple of times on the podcast, like, there is a hilarious video, but it speaks a lot of truth, where the notion of, hey, African Americans, go back home to wherever you come from, and these ingenious people decide to go, okay, well, let's see what happens if we actually did go back. However, we're going to take what we own with us. And turned out it was a lot of stuff. I'm just saying.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. And I just really think that it's one of those situations where you really, really have to just think about that aspect. Like, hey, go back. You don't like it, leave. It's like, but we help build this place,
Exactly.
forced to help build this place.
Like,
You
there
know
are
what I
people
mean? And
out
that's
there are
where
people out there who are African American who fight for our country. We know someone, aka the sergeant. Shout out to the sergeant out there. I know people in my family who, enrolled, enlisted as well too. Like, you can't sit there and say that. And it goes back to a great argument that we made maybe about a month ago when we talked about a similar subject before, but it was, you know, is it because of the fact that these athletes are speaking their voice that really has people upset? Because a lot of the argument that I've been seeing is, why don't you just shut up and play? But at the same time, it also opens up the dialogue of, well, those same people who you want to tell them to shut up and play, you're definitely going to root for if you win a championship there. However, if you're on a losing team, you're going to act like this. I mean,
but my thing,
let's look at it a little bit more deeper. Let's take it to the NBA real quick. If LeBron James was to do this, and the people out there, they're screaming in my ear right now, because that they always do, and they demand the doctor for them to tell them the truth. They want the facts, and they know he's gonna give it to them. They want to know, if LeBron James was to do something like this for an entire season, would it have this much media blow up?
50% of the fans of LeBron James, 50 to 60% of the fans wouldn't care. And that's just my opinion. Oh God, he's a great basketball player.
That's my point. It's the fact that LeBron James it's the fact that he's always, in a position to always win titles. It's the fact that, he made himself into a megastar. His face is plastered everywhere else. Like, did we not forget some years ago, Colin Kaepernick was in the Super Bowl and almost brought his team back after a blackout for it? And yet the San Francisco PD not only wants to oust him out of there, but also wants the 49ers brass and the NFL brass to apologize. Mind you, this is the
But
same
nobody said.
guy. This is the same guy who almost won them a championship. Now, if he would have
But it
won them a
doesn't matter because
championship,
now we're talking about something completely different, though, because we're not. See, that's where the football fans and us are like, oh, God, he really did a great job leading them there. But at that point, it goes to your favorite line: what has he done for them now? So now
exactly.
that he's not as good as he was before, it might be one of those situations where it's like, you know what?
He was who
We
he
don't
said
really
they
need
were.
we don't really need him. He's disrespecting us as police officers. He's making quote unquote our job harder than it needs to be. When in reality, police officers around the country do need to talk to their fellow individuals who are not protecting the image of the badge, because that's what's really happening here.
Yep.
They're not protecting the image of the badge, where people of color, including myself, instead of feeling protected and served, we feel the fear of the police around us rather than feeling protected. And
Absolutely.
that's the underlining tone here that needs to be addressed. Like, hey, when you come around, as you might be scared of me, I'm scared of you.
Yes, and
So
it's
it's
more
like,
so the latter than the former, though.
absolutely. So it's to me, it's like, well, hey, how can we solve that issue? And if they can solve that issue, then hey, Colin Kaepernick will be sure happy to stand up and salute the flag, because then innocent black men, women, children, doesn't matter which age apparently, because I saw a video where a 10-year-old child had a gun pointed in his face. Then I saw a video of an 80-year-old woman getting maced. So
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just one of those situations where if these things would stop happening, and I'm sure some of the stories, some of the images, some of the videos could potentially be fabricated. Some of these people could be whatever story people want to make up.
They can be. It could be a massive exaggeration. You're
It could
completely
be a
right.
massive exaggeration, but at the end of the day, if these things are happening even in an exaggerated fashion, they might be happening in a non-exaggerated capacity, and that's the
Exactly.
part that we as a community, we as a country need to address.
Exactly.
Because it's just one of those things. I mean, we can go on and on, obviously, about this. I mean, I personally always felt like it was crazy that everybody else kind of got paid reparations or got some kind of land or got some kind of anything, free education, free healthcare, but the African Americans kind of got a hey, we're sorry we did this to you, um, but we're not going to pay you back for it. Not going to give you really anything. Just really a I'm sorry card
Yes.
with a pat on the back, and that's the part that
And 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 end the month.
yes, and that month. That's right. That short
But
month,
don't forget though that month is the shortest month of a
shortest month.
12-month calendar year though.
I mean,
But
talk
you
about getting
know
the short end of talk about getting the short end of the stick.
exactly. But
I mean, my
I
goodness,
mean that's not here or there though, right?
it's really not.
But I
But
mean,
yeah,
to sum it up,
it's
though, I
cool.
mean, let's just end this one real quick because we're about to head into our next subject anyway. You know,
Absolutely.
fair or foul, the reaction, the negative reaction for Colin Kaepernick's silent protest.
I mean, I have to say, although I disagree with it, I think it would be expected to be fair. Only because you are in America, you are in this place, and it's one of those situations where our parents used to say, "Hey, you live in my house, you live by my rules. You kind of have to just do what we do because they said so," kind of thing, or you can
Yes.
leave. And that's where everybody
I
gets
don't
to
know.
the
The
whole
professor's mom said that, and
you left and you left exactly. Well, my thing is like I think I agree with Arian. Like, hey, maybe your choice and methods might not have been the it was pretty rash,
it was.
emotional. It was might be a little irrational because you're talking about a country, you know what I mean, where even though this is a countrywide issue, it's one of those situations where you're kind of putting it in a position where it's everybody.
Yes.
And that's where it starts to kind of break up because now you're
Yeah.
talking about creating racial tension between people who might not have had a problem. But it's like, hey,
But
it's like maybe we got a problem now because
we
Kaepernick
kind
said
of
it.
do though, and we're actually about to head to our next subject right now. But we kind of do though. But I'm gonna get my last point in. But don't the media and other people kind of generalize the African Americans anyway?
They do, and that's where there's another problem that we would have to talk into another time. But Kaepernick, I mean, I can't agree or deny that he was right or wrong, but I just know that it's one of those situations that he's gonna have to work through on his own.
Let's continue on. Let's talk
Wait,
about the other
wait,
major.
hold on one more
Uh
second. I'm
oh.
so sorry.
Uh
I'm
oh.
so sorry. I wanted to say this. I feel like this is my last statement about this.
Go
I
for
feel
it.
like there were a group of players that were supposed to be with him, and they sold him up the river after they saw the responses.
Actually, that is true, and there was a football player who did that, but I forgot the name, and I apologize out there, folks. But if
That's
we
what I
get it,
think.
we will link it back. But I know someone did it. He said he was gonna do it, and then backed off.
That's what I'm thinking. But let's move on.
But let's turn on to the other big news that was going on this past weekend. An injury happened. A major injury happened to a team, a certain team residing out in the Arlington area. A certain team, with a star on the field with a huge HD widescreen television.
Ladies and gentlemen, Romo is down. He is down.
Ladies and gentlemen, Tony Romo went down
He's not getting
with
up.
a back injury, and he is not getting up.
He's not getting up, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not sure what's happened. Hopefully he.
To coin a phrase of Stephen A. Smith. I keep telling y'all time and time again that each time the Cowboys look like they're going to be good, something always happens. And to coin a phrase for the doctor, something always happens to tear their old Space Mountain down. And this right there, that tore their old Space Mountain down. When this happened, when this news broke, such calamity in Cowboys Nation lasted for about 15 minutes. Because as soon as he went down, people started talking about Dak Prescott. The same Dak Prescott that they was like, oh no, he's not ready yet. No, he isn't ready. He isn't ready. That same Dak Prescott. The same one they said, well, give him another year or so, blah, blah, blah. He's supposed to be the number 3 quarterback, blah, blah, blah. And then his first preseason game, he had a pretty good game. But
Pretty
then
good. It was phenomenal.
But then the lull. Well, I'm not trying to. I don't drink the juice. I
You
never
want to
drink
build
the
up a
juice.
Space Mountain?
You want me to tell you why? Because the preseason is still like practice. It's like practice. It's not practice, but then it's not really a real game because it has no notion towards winning the division, winning the conference, and winning the title. It's just hard facts. It's hard facts.
This is what I'm going to say. Because I like Dak Prescott. I liked him in college.
I do too.
I like him. I think what I saw in those preseason games was someone that could possibly lead this Cowboys to an 8-8, maybe a 9-7 season, which a 9-7 season in the NFC East could potentially win you the division depending on how everything else goes.
But in the NFC East, though, I mean, you win 4 games, you have a chance.
That was last year. That's not going to happen again.
I know, but yet people still say it, and it's too funny that people sit there and they disrespect the entire
That really only
division.
happens. That happens once every 5 to 7 years. A conference is really, a division is really that bad. But that's not going to happen.
Wasn't that the Seahawks like back in the day when they
Seahawks
upset it?
No, I think it was the Seahawks.
It was
did
the Seahawks.
go. Yeah, but my thing is, I think Dak is going to be fine. And I mentioned this on Facebook, and I think I might have mentioned this on Twitter, but how...
At TL Double.
TL Double, this is right. How reminiscent this is to someone that we all respect and love, whether we think that he's a cheater or not a cheater. Our good friend, Mr. Tom Brady. For those who might have been too young to remember, just in case we got some young fans out there, or if you didn't like football that long ago,
Shout outs to the young
Drew
fans and the new NFL fans.
Drew Bledsoe was the Patriots starting quarterback. Goes down with an injury. Who comes in? The mystery man, Tom Brady out of Michigan, comes in.
Yep.
6th round pick. They
Sixth
did
round
the
pick.
what they do, the Brady Six or whatever that
The Brady
show
Six.
was.
Yes, the Brady
Uh,
Six. The 30
and
for
he's
30.
this guy. And someone said, and it blew and baffled my mind, that Tom Brady had more skill and heart than Dak Prescott coming out of college. And
What?
it blew my mind.
What?
Dak Prescott is stronger.
Uh-oh.
He's faster.
Get him.
And he can play 6 to 10 minutes of football, baby.
Oh, you went there.
Just a good old Ric Flair. But I think that Dak Prescott's got more intangibles than Brady did as a rookie. Not saying that he's going to be Tom Brady in the future. Not
We're
saying
never
anything
going to
like
say
that.
that. We're never going to say that.
But what I will say is that Tom Brady would not have been good had it not been for Bill Belichick and Josh McDaniels. Because you don't bring those offensive coordinators in, you don't get this production. And they ran a lot of short passes. They ran
They
a
do.
scheme that hid a lot of Tom's weaknesses in the
But
beginning.
they still do that today.
They do still do that today. And don't get me wrong. Love Bill Belichick. Love the way he runs the system. Love the way he runs his program. Would never go against it because I think it's one of him, Greg Pop, and basketball. I think they do a great job building the program around doing your job. They do your job. So I think Dak Prescott is going to be really, really good. I really think that the Cowboys are going to be good. I think it might be time to dump Tony Romo.
I completely agree. But speaking of Dallas Cowboys and more issues that's been undergoing that franchise, Ezekiel Elliott's been making news, but not in a good way.
Jerry Jones and the Cowboy organization believe that Zeke might be clubbing too much, similar to another rookie that they've had, Des Bryant. I'm curious if they're going. I'm curious if they're going to go out and have the same treatment that Des Bryant had, because Zeke's young. You're a rookie. You definitely need to work on being a pro, I would say. And
well, not
how
even
do you
being a
think
pro, just being a
Cowboys are gonna?
professional.
Well, yeah, being a pro, being a professional, yeah, being a pro, absolutely. But how did they build this? Because Zeke was a really, really good running back in college, and I would hate to see him go down. I would hate to see him go anywhere near the path that Trent Richardson did.
Oh boy, rip, Trent Richardson, Trent Richardson. Unfortunately.
Could you imagine if he got another job?
Who, Trent?
Yes.
What, another job in the NFL?
Yes.
I mean, are you serious?
I'm not. Could you imagine if a team said, "Hey, I want to bring in Trent Richardson"?
I mean, maybe as like a fullback.
No, as a running back, they said, "Hey, we want Trent Richardson."
No, it's too much of a QB league now. It's too much of a passing league now. So like, he only had one season. Unfortunately speaking, he had the same kind of career as RG3, except he was more based off of on-field issues. RG3 was more because of injuries.
But I can't say that because RG3, I don't know. The Washington Redskins, they really, really should have. When you think about it, because that whole draft where they drafted RG3 and they drafted Kirk Cousins, that already spelled disaster to me. I think Kirk Cousins did. Yeah, that created an issue right from the jump. So I instantly felt for him. And then, of course, he got injured. People questioned his durability, so on and so forth. I knew that, Andrew Luck was going to be the better quarterback. You'd hope that RG3 would be good, but it's just one of those situations where I think him going from Washington to the Browns It's just I would rather see him go to the Broncos to actually have a real shot at taking over. Even though he would have some big shoes to fill, it would have been so much better to see him go to Denver with a pretty good offensive line because Cleveland really lost some linemen.
They did.
So I'm not sure if I would have wanted to go to Cleveland after losing the linemen that they lost. Like Alex Mack almost is one of the best centers in the league, and you lose him, and I'm just like, I don't know about that.
I don't know.
But
It's the darndest thing.
driving Flair nuts.
Exactly.
But
But
I
back
think
to Zeke
yeah.
though. I mean, what does Jerry Jones and his staff needs to do to reel him in to have him understand the reality of the situation? That football isn't about parties; it's a business.
And that's the thing here, and that's the one thing is that now he has to learn how to not only switch his physical mentality from playing in the college game, but now he's got to play with the big boys play.
He does.
And it's like everybody's going to be faster, they're going to be stronger, they're going to be hitting harder. It's going to be more eyes on you. There's going to be more cameras. There's going to be more people trying to get you to jump at them, a la, Draymond Green.
Yes.
Who would have thought Draymond would get caught for punching somebody in the face or hitting a heckler? Nobody thought that after, like you just wouldn't think that, but it happens. You don't think about it because you feel like you're a human being like everyone else.
But once again, at the same time, it goes, to the point to where, athletes shouldn't put themselves in certain situations. I'm not saying he was at fault for what he did, but at the same time, that there's going to be people out there that's going to try to make your life a living hell. And going to try to put you in situations that could compromise your career and your livelihood.
But at the same time, you're a human being, and that's the part where I think a lot of people struggle is that they struggle with realizing that they can't go out like normal people. You know what I mean? You can't. And see, the problem with Ezekiel here, apparently he went into a marijuana store. And just going in the marijuana store was bad enough. And he just said he was curious, but curiosity killed the cat.
Curiosity does kill the cat. But speaking of killing cats, are we talking about butt fumbles? Let's talk about butt fumbles and the potential of Mark Sanchez potentially going to Minnesota amidst the terrible, and this was a terrible injury, to their starting quarterback, Teddy Bridgewater. What was your initial reaction to the injury?
I think I was at dinner, or I was getting ready for dinner, and I said, "Oh no," out loud. And my wife was like, "What?" And I was like, "Teddy B." And she was like, "What?" And I was like, "Teddy B got hurt." It looks
Shout
like
out
it's
to
an
the
ACL.
doctor's wife, first of all.
Yes. And it was just so crazy, but that's such a sad accident because he really had a good season last year. But the thought of bringing in Mark Sanchez, I know you said you didn't like it. I definitely want to hear your reasons as to why. But why the heck have we been talking about Mark Sanchez for 48 hours?
I don't know. I mean, the team he's with right now, what team is he in right now?
He's with Denver right now. Well, that's what it was. He got benched. That's what we're talking about because he got benched
because he had a terrible preseason. They already named their starting QB. And they're like, either we want to trade him or we're going to cut him. But he's not going to be staying for very longer.
Let's get this straight. So he got benched for a rookie, and now the Minnesota Vikings lose their starting quarterback, and now they want to go get a person that was just benched by another.
It was reported. We don't know if it's true or not, but it was reported.
They want him.
But I know, I'm hearing the people in my ears. They're screaming. I got voices in my head.
You got voices in your head.
They want to know, Professor. I said, what? They said, what? Professor. What? Professor. Why do you feel like this might be a bad move for the Vikings? Well, I made this point before, and I'm going to make this point again. Mark Sanchez is a warm weather quarterback. And for those out there in the podcast land who doesn't understand, the doctor knows what I'm talking about. But
I do.
Certain quarterbacks strive better in certain weather conditions. Mark Sanchez went to USC.
Mm-hmm.
USC isn't known for their blistering blizzards.
Hilarious.
And he did pretty well for himself. Got himself drafted pretty high in the draft, things like that. He doesn't do well in cold weather games. And the doctor made a great point when he stated, because I first said, well, he went to 2 AFC championship games, and the doctor replied saying, but it was because of the defense.
Jets defense. That's what I'm going with. The Jets defense, to me, in my honest opinion, is what made that Jets team go to the AFC Championship game. I think Mark Sanchez did a pretty okay job not turning the ball over, I guess, so to speak, because that's what he had to do. But at the end of the day, it really was, hey, the defense is going to carry us. All you have to do is hand the ball off, get a few first downs, and we'll be good here. But
Exactly.
they couldn't get past the Brady's, the Steelers, they couldn't get past those big teams. And that's what really hurt. Now I don't think Mark Sanchez should be decided. He shouldn't be defined by the butt fumble, but that was the ending portion of the chapter that is called the Jets. And that's what we remember him as.
That's what I'm saying. Speaking of cat killing and butt fumbling. But I just think it's the wrong move.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, and my thing was, and I have a problem with more so with USC quarterbacks. I didn't really like Matt Leinart. I don't like Mark Sanchez. And I dang sure, for sure, don't like Carson Palmer.
But out of the three, he was the one who did the best.
Out of the three,
Out of the three,
he's the
he had
one that I would call a bum. Because Carson Palmer is a bum. Okay? I have never been a Carson Palmer fan. Didn't like him in Cincinnati.
No.
Don't like him in
Arizona.
Arizona. If they were to win a Super Bowl, I would give everyone on the team credit, but him.
But
'Cause I don't like him.
Let's
I don't
keep
like
on
him.
going, because the other news, this one broke yesterday. There was 3 players that was accused of performing enhancing drugs by the same source that also accused Peyton Manning of performance enhancing drugs. Those cases were cleared out. They were shown their innocence. Initial thoughts when that news came out, Doctor?
The only person that I was really, really shocked of was Clay Matthews. I was really, really shocked that Clay Matthews was on the list. James Harrison, have you ever seen his workouts on Facebook or on Twitter or online?
He's a beast.
He is a monster, and I would have investigated him years ago because he looks like he's been juicing for a long time. But hey, he got through it. He'd been cleared. I'm kind of shocked by Clay Matthews. That's really, really a shocker because he just looks like one of those players that's really, really an all-around athlete, like the J.J. Watt type. Julius Peppers getting a little older. I could see why he may have done it, but James Harrison is older.
He is, but
he looks older.
I think he constantly keeps himself in shape.
I think him and Julius Peppers are around the same age, but he just looks older.
Yes.
And his workouts are so intense. And I was like, oh my God, this guy's a monster. Like an absolute monster. But I'm glad that they cleared, because we don't need that in the NFL. We don't need that. That's something we don't need, and I'm glad that they were cleared of that. But Clay Matthews, I was pretty shocked by that. But I'm glad again that they were cleared of that.
Absolutely. And I completely agree. I mean, it always talks about, and when we had Mr. October on here, I know that he'll definitely give us his perspective, but at a great point in time, I think like 20 good years, we lived in the steroid era in the Major League Baseball, and now that we're doing the same thing in football, because basketball, we really don't get a lot of those.
Yeah, it's true.
I mean, Diana Taurasi might be the only person in recent memory that I know of that's been accused of PEDs.
Unless there's more things accepted in basketball than football. That's the only thing I can think of.
I
Uh,
doubt it. I think it's more of like,
the physicality of the game.
I mean,
Football's a pretty
there,
physical game.
I wouldn't be surprised if there was a PED allegation for esports.
Probably for some kind of focused drug.
Exactly. But it's still a PED though.
A drug that you don't, so your fingers don't cramp.
When you think about it like that, it's just like the T-shirt says, and head out there. There's a lot of great T-shirts at esports, by the way. We're definitely promoting that. But there's one that says, "Please God, whatever you do, don't make me go down 0-2."
Absolutely. Absolutely. You don't want to go down 0-2.
But if we take that same mentality and apply it to football, if you're looking for that big contract and you're in a contract year and you've been so, you need to go out there and do something about it. Well, this isn't to say, going to performing enhancing drugs is the only solution, but
Right.
it just means you need to try harder. You need to work harder. You need to try to become a 60-minute man. Now,
So
the
here's
only
the
issue
thing
that I
about
have.
it, though.
Wait, hold on. The only issue that I have about this allegation is we don't even know if this source was trustworthy.
This is
Because
true.
the same source, literally a few days after Peyton Manning did his curtain call, accused him of performing enhancing drugs.
Well, here's the thing now. I don't know if you ever seen the movie The Program. Me and my teammates, we would always watch the program before every game because, when you watch, Kane and you watch Alex Mack and you just got pumped to play in the game. But in the movie, there was a gentleman who, as an underclassman, just wasn't getting the job done. And in the movie, they showed him taking steroids, taking a performance enhancing drug to get stronger, to get more aggressive, to get better. And
Yes.
obviously, of course, in the movie, he was put into the starting lineup, did really, really well, stepped his game up, of course, because he was stronger, faster, 60-minute man. And of course, he was switching out his urine for somebody else's urine. He was
Yes.
really going through the whole nine. Then he finally got caught because he was too aggressive, too hyped up, tried to attack a young lady. He got caught. And when you think about it, when you're thinking about nothing but the game, and you're thinking about your performance in this game that you love, a lot of people will go through great depths to actually perform at the highest level. And although
Absolutely.
it's not right to use these performance enhancing drugs, it's one of those things where they feel it might be deemed necessary, if done intentionally, to actually take
Yes.
their game to the next level. And that's where there's a big problem.
Well, and I could think of two other movies on the top of my head that, talk about certain performance enhancing drugs. Not as much to get people a certain contract, but to try to lure people to get back into the games. And those two movies are Varsity Blues
Yes.
and Any Given Sunday.
Now, Any Given Sunday was something completely different because, they showed you what happens. Even in Varsity Blues, you saw the same thing. Guys get hurt. Hey, give me the shot. Give me whatever you need to do for me to get back out there.
Yes.
And that's definitely probably happening in the NFL and in other sports. Give me the shot. Give me whatever therapy you need. I just need to get back in the game. I need to get my money. You saw LT in the movie. I need 3 tackles and 1 more sack so I get my $1 million bonus.
$1 bonus.
I don't care if I got to shake like coconut on the tree, coach. Just put me in the game.
Put me in the game, coach.
Put me in the
Right.
game. That's what I'm saying.
But
So
let us
that's
get
it.
to our last topic. And that
Oh,
last
God.
topic, we're going to talk about
Oh,
the
God.
WWE and the ongoings that's going on there. And the big news
Oh, my
that
God.
came out of Monday night, and the doctor said it so adequately. Oh my God! Oh my God! Justin Wong! Oh my God! Shout out to Justin Wong out there. For those who don't know him, he is a great esport player for Street Fighter. Anywho, Kevin Owens shocked the world, except for the professor, when
Shocked
he
the world.
won the WWE Universal Championship. What was your thoughts when this happened, sir?
This was the best ending to Raw in a decade, sir. Like, I was so pumped up. And it was, I think, had it been anyone else, like, had Kevin Owens not been in the match, I think had it been anybody else, it wouldn't have been as big. Like,
No.
if it was like The Miz or somebody or that pissant AJ Styles, I would have turned the TV off and I would have gave up wrestling for at least a month because I don't want to see no Styles Clash anywhere on my screen.
He's lying, by the way, people.
No, no, I'm not lying.
He'll still watch
Styles
NXT.
Clash.
He'll still watch NXT.
Okay, that's on the network.
Okay.
Do that.
Okay.
So, Nakamura saves the day. Nakamura saves the day. Dun, 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 dun. But what an end to Monday Night Raw, ladies and gentlemen.
It was.
Triple H came out. Wait, before we get there, shout out to Big Cass.
Shout out to Big Cass. So one of the things that we talked about after this happened, and I had to explain this to the doctor a little bit, to why Cass was in the match. I said he wasn't going to win, but the reason why he was there is to give the people out there, the WWE Universe, the perception that Big Cass belongs to be at the big boys table for the main strap.
I agree.
And they did a good job at that.
Yes, he carried himself very well. I didn't know how he was going to be, because when they put newer wrestlers that just might have came from NXT or from one of the other promotions, they put them on these like battle royals just to let them get out there and hit each other a little bit. Hey, just go have fun out there. Don't hurt yourself. Just go have fun. Get out of here. But this was like, Cass, you're with Roman, champion. You're with Seth Rollins, former champion. You're with Kevin Owens, champion in other promotions.
Absolutely.
NXT champion. PCW, PWC, whatever that was, champion.
PWG.
ROH champion. They were champions everywhere. You know what I mean? So here's Big Cass giving the biggest boot that I had ever seen.
Are you talking about the one where he did it to Roman Reigns and they both flew out of the ring?
It was immaculate. He gave a few boots. He did that big elbow, which I know you were supposed to ask me a question about this elbow.
Yes. You know what? Let's do that, but let's finish up this talking right now because I know we're about to start running low on time.
Yes.
And we could talk about this the whole time, but we have to make sure we put enough time to talk about the bigger issue that's going on.
So let's just get to it. Triple H comes in after Cass is eliminated.
Mm-hmm.
Pedigrees Roman Reigns on the outside, pushes him in, looks at Seth Rollins, get your butt up, get in there, pin him. 1, 2, 3, Roman out, let's pull him out of the ring. Sets up Kevin Owens, say, hey, I'm going to pedigree you. No, sir, it's your turn. I'm going to hand the reins to you. And I'm going to pedigree Seth Rollins. And the crowd went wild in the arena as well as in my house.
Absolutely.
Do you understand, people? It went bananas. If you didn't see it, you need to check out that video. But my thing was, did Seth Rollins hug Stephanie McMahon too long?
You know what? I think that was trending worldwide after you put it out there, Doctor.
Yeah, I got a couple of likes on that. Got a couple of
couple of taters. Couple of taters.
But, I mean,
wow.
But
despite all that, the big question, and once again, the people are screaming in my ear. They're saying, Professor, you're running low on time. Ask the man the question.
Ask him the question.
Is the Empire Elbow a weak move for Big Cass as a finisher, not a signature move?
You didn't say that before. It's not a finisher.
Because the argument was,
maybe I should say
the
it.
People's Champ, The Rock, has won matches with the People's Elbow.
But it's a comical move. And that's what I said. That's what the controversial statement was. It's a comical move. It falls along the lines of the worm, shake, rattle, knee drop, the Austin second turnbuckle elbow, the Bret Hart second turnbuckle elbow.
I love that elbow.
But nobody should win a match off of that. The Big Cass's elbow, he jumps so high, it's almost equivalent. And I hate to say this, but it looked to be almost equivalent. If he did this in the 80s with Hulk Hogan, it would have won him a lot of matches.
I will agree with that, and I can see to that point, and I'm okay with that.
It's a
but
big
that
elbow.
was the
When
but that
I
was
saw
the
him drop this,
1980s.
when I saw him drop this on Seth Rollins, I thought his right pec
was going to explode.
was going to explode and break and sizzle out of his elbow. Do you understand here? He jumped up, and I know Seth was like, oh my God. Think about it. You're sitting down, and he's 7 feet tall, and you can't teach that. And he comes jumping down, he lands on you with this elbow, and he drives it into your sternum, chesticles, or whatever he hits when he drops down on you. My God, he could win a match with that.
I still think he needs a better finisher move.
Oh, without question. I really think he needs to just bring out the Jackknife Powerbomb and become big sexy, but that's just me.
Yeah, but I don't know if he can do that to Kevin Owens.
He can't do that to a lot of... I don't know. We don't know how strong Big Cass is because he hasn't really done any powerful. He hasn't. He's been more finesse, and I mean, that seems to be where the WWE is going.
There's like 16 W's in there, Doctor.
WWE.
Okay. But I think the only other thing that I need to talk about was, despite the fact that he did an okay job for the opening segment, did you notice that Enzo came out with him for the main event?
I did, and I was pretty shocked about that. But
I mean that was kind of soft of them to do that.
It was kind of weird too, because then he left. But I guess if he didn't leave, it would have been kind of weird. Because nobody else was out there. But I also found that Stephanie McMahon and Mankind or Mick Foley or Dude Love
or Cactus Jack or
did nothing when Triple H came out and was pedigreeing everyone. Like,
so wait, Doctor, are you saying that Stephanie McMahon just stood there and took it in the face?
I mean, yes, because I mean, hey, listen, look. That's your husband. I mean, Mick Foley, I know you're well past your prime, but I think you sitting there and try to push him or grab his arm or
do what she does to everyone else and slap him in the face.
Something. I mean, don't just sit there with these stupid paused look on your face. So that was the only part that was kind of weird for me. But I know we got to get going. What are your final thoughts from the week, sir?
My final thoughts are, I mean, just glad people are still tuning in to us. We got a pretty good track happening tonight. We're going to let you introduce them. Very excited about them. Other than that, I mean, it's just a crazy mixed up world we live in. You know, all we can do now is just live every single day, one day at a time, and just try to take advantage of the time that we have. Take small victories and they turn into bigger ones.
And I agree. I think for me, it's really more about taking those small victories, but also realizing where you've come, how far you've come in your journey. And that's something that we just continue to learn every day, and we just continue to grow. Debate amongst friends. We're trying to grow as a podcast team, as individuals, as businessmen, as family men, so on and so forth. But tonight's track, ladies and gentlemen, is called Ease Up, Masters, from my man and fellow St. Peter's alum, Jay Sell. And
SPU Hype.
SPU Hype indeed. And I do hope you enjoy that track. He's a great specialized lyricist, and I'm looking forward to sharing this track with you this evening.
And we're going to leave you off. Thank you very much for tuning in with us tonight on this Wednesday evening. Once again, I am the Professor.
And I'm the Doctor.
And we'll catch y'all soon. Peace and love.
Deuces.
J-Cell, nigga. Hey, yo, piece of Doc Beach, nigga. Ease up, niggas up, niggas up, niggas up, niggas up, niggas. Back like I never left, rapping my leather left. Shout it to the B, and your boy never hesitate. Kill half a bottle when I act like I never been. Tough pill to swallow, but I act like there's nothing left. Shit talking, hip walking, fucked up, degenerate. Kill the whole bar, niggas subject and predicate. Stand be a team, niggas tougher than an elephant. Niggas call me God, never claim to be heaven sent. Dogs with your cheese, hard with some breeze. Trying to get quoted for bars of the season. Vultures kill the culture, ain't nobody yelling trees. Born into hip hop, now we wanna read. Ain't nobody speak up, guess I gotta teach you. Alone in my zone, and I smoke a fucking beat up. When you say good luck, then I'm Liam Neeson. Niggas ain't taking shit, so y'all better ease up. So y'all better ease up. Niggas ain't taking shit, so y'all better ease up. So y'all better ease up. Piece of dog beats, y'all niggas better ease up.